Rick Dollar here for the Rick Dollar Show and the Rick Dollar Show podcast, by the way. And if you haven't seen any of our other content, we have a brand new podcast called My Appalachian Home, and that will be coming soon. Tonight, my guest is Mr. Joe Caverlee. And Joseph, how are you?
Mr. Dollar, I am wonderful, sir. How are you?
You know me better than that. Okay.
I'm doing
Yeah.
great, Rick. Good to see
Yeah,
you, man.
yeah, man. Good to see you. Hey, we're going to talk about some things that you got going. Now, of course, you're still with Tracy Lawrence. How long have you been with Tracy?
I believe this starts my 23rd or 24th year, something like that.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a long time to look at anybody. You know what I'm saying?
well, well, he's put up with me this long, so I guess I'm there for a while.
Well, you guys are on the Rock the Country tour with Kid Rock,
hmm
Hank Jr., Mark Chestnut, Sammy Kershaw, and that's all I got from you. But that's enough. I mean,
That's
that's a lot going
that's a
on, especially
that's a
with
full
Hank
day.
Jr. Yeah.
Oh man, what a blast! I hadn't seen Hank in about 25 years, and he still puts on a great show. He walks out with a ball cap that says "Icon" in bright gold letters. He puts on his guitar. His guitar strap says "Icon." It's like, yes, this is Hank.
Well, that's truth in advertising, I guess you could
You
say right there,
you got
man. I
that
mean,
right.
I mean, I can only imagine what it's like, just being around that cat for so long. I mean, you've known him a long time, and that's a great thing. But we want to talk about what you got going on with MCM Label Group. You've got a brand new record out, well, a brand new single out right now called "Saving,"
Yes, sir.
and I had a little advance of that a few months ago. But man, that's a great song. You wanna go into that about
Thank you, man.
yeah. Let's talk about that.
Um, I don't know. Just the idea was born by I noticed. There's some homeless people in Nashville, and this song was written quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this guy in the pouring rain, just out there, just working like it's his day job, collecting cans and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I got with my co-writer Robert Elizorel, and I said, "How cool would it be to write a song about this guy?" I mean, everybody's philanthropic when they've got a lot of money. I said, "What if this guy was philanthropic?" And that's exactly what the song's all about. He
Yeah.
gathers all the cans and collects the money and gives it to everybody else.
Man.
He's saving for his trip back home.
See, nothing wrong with that, dude. I love that. So, what brought that about? Just seeing this guy,
Yeah, we
or
had Robert and I had a writing appointment scheduled, and you know
Mhm.
how they go. We call them co-stairs, and usually because you get in there and you stare at each other for an hour before you like come up with an idea. And I had seen this guy probably the week before our writing
Oh
appointment,
wow.
and I was like, man, I think this will turn into something. And it
Hmm.
sat there for a while. We demoed it, a long time ago.
Yeah.
And when I was putting this project together for the bluegrass record, I'm like, man, I think this would grass up nice.
Yeah.
So
So
there it
so
is.
yeah, I'm telling you. Now you mentioned this is a bluegrass record. Now,
Yeah,
is this like your first bluegrass record, or
not the
what's the
first one
deal?
I've ever played on, but the
Hmm.
first one I've ever called my own. Um,
Wow.
I, I cut my teeth on bluegrass when I was a teenager, and as we progressed, country was making more money, so I just kind of switched over and never looked back. But I've always had a love for bluegrass and traditional music,
Hmm.
and I wanted to do this 10 years ago, Rick, but I just life gets in the way. I'm raising a son and touring and everything else, and here I am, 10 years after I thought about it, finally getting her done.
And then you got a cool deer head back there. I'm sure that takes up some of your time too.
Yeah, I'm an archer by trade. You can see the on
Yeah,
the spot
exactly.
hog and the Votech. I support those who support me. But yeah, I love to bow hunt. It's a passion of mine, and just getting out in the woods is one of my favorite things to do. And I chased that booger behind my shoulder for 3 years before I finally
Did you
got it to him.
really?
hmm
And it's good to have a way to relax. I mean, music is your passion. We can
hmm
we can say that for sure. but I think, being able to get out in the middle of the woods with nobody else around and you and that deer and, who's going to win today? That's the thing.
Well, I've been skunked more times than I care to admit, but there's nothing like getting out there before the sun comes up and just watching the woods come alive and just, admire all of God's beauty. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
there ain't nothing like it.
Well, I'll ask the obvious question. Okay, now
Hmm.
we know what it's like to be around Hank Jr., but there's another guy on this tour who's heading up this tour that feels the same way about Hank Jr. that you do,
Oh yeah,
and that's Bobby.
that's Bobby,
Yeah,
the
Kid
kid.
Rock is. If you don't know, I could call him Bobby. You know what I'm saying?
See, I can't. I don't know him that well.
But
I'll live vicariously through you, sir.
yeah, exactly. But what's it like, hanging out with Kid Rock some? I mean, I've heard the stories from what's going on on Broadway when he decides to show up at his bar and just play some stuff. But what's it like, man?
Well, honestly, I didn't see him a whole lot. We've only done one of these shows. I think we've got 5 or 6 of them throughout the summer. I think the
Hmm.
next one's in Ashland coming up. But I actually spent a little time with him at Tracy's golf tournament last year
Oh
for
yeah.
Mission Possible, and just a down to earth dude. Had his hair all braided up and Pippi Longstocking down. He don't care.
Yeah,
He's
but
just,
you're talking about a golf tournament, man. There's a lot of curse words and alcohol, I'm sure. Gotta be.
I think it's a prerequisite.
I think it has to be. I mean, I used to cuss a lot.
If you want to work on your cussing vocabulary, take up golf.
I'll just hang out with you guys for a while and see what happens. So, approximately how many dates are you going to be pulling with Tracy this year?
We usually do around 75 or 80, sometimes a little more than
Wow, that's
that.
pretty
But
good,
yeah, he likes to work. He likes to stay busy, and he's got a pretty full plate. And yeah, we stay pretty humping.
man. So 75, 80 dates a year. Now, is that plus or minus what you're doing on this other tour?
That's including
Oh, wow. That's
that's
still pretty
including the
good,
five or
though,
six
man.
dates. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still pretty good, though. So, bluegrass has been a lot of people's passion for a long time, especially country artists. We're finding out a lot of these guys are reaching back and saying, "Man, I remember doing this, when I was, just started out. Let's do it again." I see this happening a lot. I mean, guys like Dirks Bentley,
Hmm.
people like that.
Marty Rabin.
Yeah, Marty, of course. I mean,
We did a cruise. I don't know, about a year and a half ago.
mhm.
And after everything was finished, we got our country obligations out of the way. Uh, we
Are
got
those
together.
really obligations, though?
Well, just after you do it for 35 years, yeah, it's kind of an obligation.
Is it
It's
really? God.
it's still fun though. I mean, I'm not a big fan of cruises, but this made it
Yeah.
pretty special. After everything was done, about 10 or 11 at night, Marty came down and all the girls from Sister Sadie,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
invited me to join them. And when you got Deanie Richardson playing fiddle, I
I
played
was getting
upright.
ready to say, what's it? How do you do that together? I mean,
Well, I played upright bass most of the night,
did
and
you
and
really?
and had a blister about the size of a dime on my finger by the end of the night too. But bass is probably my second instrument.
Yeah. Deanie's
Um,
something else, man. Let me
oh,
tell
she's
you.
she's amazing.
That girl is something else.
Yeah, she.
Well, you got somebody like her, Becky Buller, Bronwyn Keith Hines. You got people like that in the industry right now, on fiddle. I
Oh,
mean,
Bronwyn tears it up too. I
oh
love her.
man, we saw her in Savannah here not long ago,
Hmm.
and I thought they were going to do 2 sets, and they ended up doing 4 sets.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I
bonus.
mean, she had no problem with being up there all night long, and I just kept hearing people say, "Oh, they're coming back up," and I was freaked out. I was like, "What?" I really got my money's worth that night. I'll just tell you that, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but So is that your first love in music, man? Is fiddle?
Yeah, I mean, I I discovered the fiddle that I learned on, and we may have touched on this the last podcast, but
Hmm.
um, I found it in my grandmother's attic. I was
Wow.
about 6 or 7 years old, and I went up there and I saw it, and I opened the case, and I didn't touch it because I knew I'd probably get my butt whipped if I did, and grandma caught me for sure.
Yeah.
But she was good as gold. She told me the story and the history. Her grandfather played that fiddle just to make a little extra money when times were pretty
Gosh,
lean.
man.
And she said, if you ever want to play that, I'll get it fixed up for you. It had a big belly crack in it and everything, but
Wow.
orchestra sign-ups came, and when I was in fifth grade, and she was good as her word. And then I took, orchestra, classically trained all the way through high school and a little bit past that. But I started listening to bluegrass probably around 8 or 9,
Yeah.
and really, really liked it. And I think I knew two fiddle tunes when I was 13. Went to this little diner and just played my two fiddle tunes with the band, and they hired me that night. I was 13 years old, so that was my first professional gig.
Oh my gosh, man. Well, I don't know if I ever told you this story or not, but my grandfather met my grandmother because of his little fiddle on, thing that he used to do. Um, he was walking down the street one night, always headed downtown every Friday night with that fiddle, and she was sitting on a porch swing when he went down. So then when he got through playing downtown and he came back, she was leaned over the fence, the picket fence, waiting on him to come back.
Wow.
And that was all it took.
Rest is history.
It happened, man. I mean, all these kids and all everything that, happened in their life for a lot of years started because Papa went by her house playing the fiddle.
Hey, man, everybody dreams about being on stage playing guitar, and but I'm telling you, man, chicks dig the fiddle.
I would give anything if I could find that fiddle. I don't even know where that fiddle's at.
I would love to put hands on that, sir.
God, man, me too. Can you? I mean, this, like you're saying, it's the story behind the instrument. A lot of times, is what makes it worth so much.
And the one Grandma gave me, it's not my best fiddle by any stretch, but it'll never leave me. I'll never get rid of it.
It'll do in a pinch, won't
And
it?
that's what I teach my lessons on.
Oh,
I'm
really?
paying it back. Yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy. Well, let's talk about what your plans are for your record. What do you got? You got two or three songs in mind that you're gonna dump out on the world and see what they think about them.
Yeah, we went early with "Land That I Love," and
Yeah, we did.
I think we're going to come back with that as because it's a pretty much a Memorial Day song, and
Yeah,
Memorial
it's a
Day is
great song, man.
it's coming up on us. So I think we're going to maybe just not re-release it, but just throw it back out there saying, hey, this would be great to play for Memorial Day. It's got a
Oh
great
yeah,
sentiment. Um, and so we're going to try to do that. Saving, I've just always felt real strongly about that song. I mean, I love every song
yeah.
on the record, obviously, but you can't release them all. So,
Be nice if
um,
you could, wouldn't
yeah, it'd be
it?
nice if you could. But
Yeah.
there's a hard driving track I'd written about. Well, if you'd hear the demo, it wasn't hard driving. It was a country tune. I'm like, man, that'll grass up nice too. So.
Oh yeah.
We're just getting the finishing touches on the album. I had my photo shoot about 3 weeks ago, so
Wow.
that poor photographer had to put up with my ugly mug for
I was
2 hours.
I was getting ready to say, man, how does that work out? These days, I know how it would be if I had to have a photo shoot, quote
Well,
unquote. I'd be
well,
like,
yeah.
what the hell am I thinking? you know?
Well, we're getting all the artwork together and deciding on what kind of, I actually want some physical copies, some CDs,
That's good. Yeah.
just, because my family's chomping at the bit because they've been waiting on me to do this for, 25 years, and I've just been too busy trying to make a living. So,
Dude,
but
that's
this
awesome.
was definitely a labor of love, and all 10 songs on there I wrote or
Wow.
co-wrote. There's a gospel tune on there that I'm really proud of.
What's
I
that
just
called? I'm kind of interested in that one.
What? I'm sorry.
What's that gospel tune called?
Oh, somebody.
Oh wow, man, let me write this down. We gotta have that, you know?
And I liked my demo. I don't want to sound narcissistic, but I liked my demo, and because I sang, some of the, most of the high harmonies on here, and then I had our buddy Ben James. He sang those
Oh
really
yeah.
rafter parts, but I sang all four parts on this gospel tune, even the bass. I sang myself out singing all the harmony, and then I woke up the next morning and didn't say a word, so I could sing the bass part. So I'm
Man.
really proud of that one.
I remember asking you the first time I heard some of these songs.
Hmm.
You were talking about this. I was like, who's this girl that sings this high part? Now I know Ben and you know
Yeah.
Ben, but I never put the two together, you know?
Ben has turned out to be one of my closest friends. We've only known each other a few years, but
Man.
he's an old soul, and we're kindred spirits, and we both love to hunt. And he just moved up here about a month or two ago, so he lives about 20 minutes from me now. So
Oh man, that's
I'm pretty
perfect.
tickled about that. To have my buddy close.
Yeah, Ben James. Let me tell you, man, the first time I talked to him, I was like so shocked at what a really cool person he was. And
Hmm.
he handled himself well. And he was just so excited to be back in the music business at the level that he's in.
Hmm.
I can only imagine what he's going through right now. He's probably, freaking out because, but he's right where he needs to be, man.
Yeah, he's in the right area for sure, and I see some big things for that young man.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, for a man in his 20s, uh, to handle himself like you said, like he does, I mean, just an
Yeah.
old soul. I mean, there's some good things going to happen to him.
Man, just shocks me though. That voice is just, I mean,
Hmm.
that's something right there that freaked me out the first time I heard him. And I was like, gosh, where do you get that? How far down do you have to reach to get that?
How tight are your britches, boy?
I'm telling you. I mean, he must be wearing Speedos every day or something to,
Yeah,
you know, keep things where they need to be. I don't know, man. It's crazy. But that's like I said, I was like, I couldn't believe that I'd actually said that to you about him being because he sounded like a chick.
he does, and he gets it all the time. But I mean, just if you want some high harmony,
That's
Ben's
the
your guy.
man. That is the
But
man right there.
But
Now
yeah,
he,
between that and I've got a few projects like in irons in the fire right now,
oh,
so
really?
it's been pretty busy. I hooked up with an old rock band that I was in like at the tail end of high school and right after high school, and we had a little following back in Ohio.
Yeah.
But life happens. They all went off to college, but we still kept playing.
Yeah.
And they've had careers. We hadn't seen each other in probably 30 years, and we got to talking a couple years ago. We still had some originals that we had never recorded.
Wow.
So they came down in November and then back down again beginning of the year, and we cut four of our old songs, and it was just a lot of fun. I played electric bass in that band.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what's the name of this group?
Tripe.
Tribe. Okay, you're gonna have to explain that one because I'm confused. I don't even know what a tripe is. It sounds like some kind of fish, you know?
You know what?
What'd you have for dinner? I had tripe last
Everybody
night.
thinks it's a kind of fish, but it's a beef stomach, is what it is.
Really?
Yeah. We all worked at the grocery store, so I was going down the meat case and I saw tripe, big sticker. I was like, wow, what a cool band name, and it stuck.
Did you steal the sticker?
No, I should have, but I
You
didn't.
you should have stole that sticker, dude, because you're
I
never
think
gonna find that again.
I think they're still around. They still sell beef tripe. It's kind of a
Man,
delicacy.
yeah, I'm telling you. You talk about rock bands and stuff like that. I happened to, and this is just kind of off the subject a little bit, but I saw an interview this morning with Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Hmm.
This man is 72 years old. And I could not believe that he was still doing what he wanted to do. But the point I'm trying to make is you're not 72 years old, but I'm going to tell you something. There's 25-year-old guys that aren't getting the deals that you're getting. You're doing your own bluegrass record. You're out on the road with all these huge names. And I mean, you've been with Tracy Lawrence all this time, Hank Jr., Sammy Kershaw, Mark Chestnut, all these people. And that's probably just a scratch in the surface. But do you ever just pinch yourself and say, how did I get here?
Brother, I thank the good Lord on a daily basis for getting to do what I do for a living. It's been an enjoyable ride. There's like any other ride, there's a few bumps in the road,
Sure.
and a few setbacks, but there's not much that I would change. It's been a pretty cool career. I mean, I wish I'd have made a little more money, but don't we all?
Yeah, sure.
But I've called it a living for going on 35 years now, and
Wow.
I'm blessed. That's all I got to say, and I thank God for it. It's been a fun ride.
Well, is there anything you would have changed? I mean, other than being a gazillionaire, living next to Bill Gates somewhere?
Um, I probably wouldn't have waited till I was 57 to cut my first record. I mean, I've played on hundreds of records. I've sang on hundreds of records, but they weren't mine.
Well, that's what I'm
um,
saying, though. But even though, you just threw your age out there, which was not gonna, I wasn't
oh,
expecting you to do that.
it's a Google search. It's a Google search away, Rick.
Exactly. It's very easy to find out. Um, but I feel like that you still got more in the tank,
I
dude.
do.
I feel like
I
there's
feel
a
that way
lot
too.
of things that you are wanting to do. And I mean, I could be wrong, but you're too enthusiastic about what you're doing not
I
to.
I don't like to sit idle. Now, granted, I have my lazy days where when when you're doing music all the time, you're touring, you're recording, you're doing sessions for other folks, and I'm teaching lessons 2 days a week.
Exactly.
Sometimes I don't want any music. So talk radio, podcasts are great
Yeah.
for me in the truck because sometimes I just don't want to hear any music at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm already I've already got probably 5 or 6 songs ready for the next bluegrass project. Um, I'm 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 not sitting idle. I want to
Dude,
keep going.
you're gonna love this. You're gonna loving this bluegrass thing. This is not just a kick for you. This is gonna be something that you're gonna carry, I think, to the latter part of your life,
If
or
if
your
if
career, maybe.
if
Not
my
that
hands
you're
hold
not that you're
out,
close to that. Obviously,
well,
you're not.
you never know when your number's up. Good Lord calls you home. I'm just going to try to do everything I can.
Well,
Um, but like I said, as long as my hands hold up, bluegrass requires a few
oh
more
my
finger
gosh.
muscles. I wished I would have. I wouldn't say I gave bluegrass a break because it's been you know
Hmm.
that soulful good music from my heart
Oh
my whole
yeah.
life, and it's always I've always played it, but I
Hmm.
never did it like this where it's like, oh my gosh, because after we tracked it, it's like, well crap, now I gotta put fiddle on it with all these fantastic musicians I had on my record.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, a little bit. It's a little intimidating for
I mean,
sure.
when you pull those guys, I mean, let's talk about this a second.
Yeah.
Now, who do you have? I mean, we've already talked about Ben, and but we haven't really delved into anything else.
Well, we
Who,
had Big Ben on bass, Ben Isaacs.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, there you go.
Sean Richardson on guitar, Ronnie Stewart on banjo, Josh Swift on dobro, Aaron Ramsey on mandolin. It's yeah,
Oh
it was
my
a cat.
God.
I got the A list because I
You
want
did, no
this this
doubt.
this. You only get one chance to make a first impression, so
Well, I think the big thing about that is, some of these guys that you just mentioned are, bluegrass is like their second language or
mhm,
maybe even their first language.
I would say that.
Ben Isaacs is one of these guys that has, stuck around in the gospel industry for a long time.
Hmm.
But you got guys like Josh Swift, who stood next to Doyle Lawson for a lot of years.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, a lot of years.
yeah.
And so it just amazes me that, you know, are these just guys that you knew or somebody put you together? Or,
I've known Ben for a while. I mean, everybody associates Ben with those great harmonies that the Isaacs have.
oh
But
yeah,
I mean, pay close attention to that man play a bass. I mean, he is stupendous.
yep.
And Ron Stewart goes without saying. One of the best banjo players on the planet. I had not met Aaron before, but I'll tell you what, ain't nobody got a better chop than Aaron.
And that's kind of crazy because he was first time I ever heard anything about Aaron Ramsey was with I think it was Mountain Heart.
Hmm.
He was playing with Seth and those guys at Mountain Heart and Josh Schilling and guys like that. And that was kind of the second or third version, I think, of Mountain Heart more than anything. But you're right. When you can grab these guys and say, hey, what do are you busy? You know,
Well, luckily I cut in the month of January, which everybody's pretty much shut down. So, and that was by
wow,
design.
you're a very
so,
smart,
so,
you're a very
so,
smart man.
so I could get these guys. It's not like I get them in. If I tried to cut in June, it wasn't going to
Yeah,
happen.
exactly. No, we're busy.
We're very busy,
Yeah, exactly.
as you should be.
No, exactly. But it's just it's great. I mean, the way you've laid all this out, the way you're doing what you're doing, dude, it just seems to me like your entire life is on purpose. You know, some people would take the opportunities you have, and I'd mess it up some way. Okay,
Oh, I have.
I can imagine, but it seems to be a very purposeful thing for you, and I don't think that you're ever gonna be looking back at it and say, "Wow, I wish I would have done it this way or that way." I think I think you pretty much got it figured out.
Well, it's very generous of you to say. I wake up every morning still trying to figure things out, but with a lot of help from my buddy Chris at the label, Chris
Hmm.
Myers. He's been through this a bunch. He's
Yeah, he
running the label,
has. He has.
so it had been a while since I had been an artist. I've always been a sideman. I had my little fun with Yankee Gray back in the late '90s.
Sure.
We had a little bit of radio success, but it kind of fell apart. So it had been since then that
Yeah.
I actually had to do a little work. And
Uh,
let me tell you something. There's a lot of work in this.
Yeah, no doubt. But I really, like I said, I just see all this good stuff happening for you, and I think you got the momentum right now.
Very kind
And
of you, bro.
well, I mean, it's kind of hard not to see. I mean,
If
and
I
and
if I could just get it played on Junction, hopefully that's coming quicker than not.
that's
Um,
exactly right.
that would make my brother proud because he and my
Oh, I
nephew
can
because
imagine.
they listen to that all the time and they're it's like we don't hear your song, man. It's like
They
wow,
keep
I don't know
waiting
what to
to
do,
hear you.
man.
Where's he at?
I don't know.
He's
I'm
busy
trying,
right
brother.
now.
I'm trying.
Well, I think it all comes down to this, uh, Joe. It depends on what makes you happy,
Hmm.
you know, and you may not have the same aspirations as other people do. You know, there may be something in your life that you're thinking, hey, this is great. I'm good with this right now. And other people may think, oh man, why is he not doing this or why is he not doing that? Who cares? you
Well,
got you got to be happy. You know what I'm saying?
I got to live in my own skin, but I'm also open for suggestions. I'm not social media savvy.
Yeah.
Um, I'm tech savvy, but I've never really done the social media thing. I'm just now dipping my toe in it and figuring out what a broad new world it is out there
Oh man, you
if
got
you do it
to.
right.
I know, dude. When I first started doing all this stuff, I mean, we started a podcast 12 years ago, me and my
Hmm.
friend Tony, and we were running the roads constantly, driving ourselves in the ground. And you know, Tony was always the guy he knew about the social media stuff, and I had no idea. I was just waiting on somebody to stick a microphone in my face and get it over with so we could, go get something to eat. It was just,
Well, like my buddy Chris, he keeps telling me, he said, make little snippets, record yourself, do little snippets of your song. He said, send it to me, I'll throw it out there.
it's
I'm like,
exactly
man,
right.
nobody wants to hear me. And he's like,
See?
you'd be surprised.
Oh, man. Chris knows you better than you know you.
Yeah, he does.
Chris knows me better than I know me. Chris is a great guy, man. He's
We
one
go
of
back a
these.
long ways.
Yeah, he's one of these guys though that in life I can look back and say there's 5 people in my life that I'm glad I met, and Chris is one of them.
I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, and
He's
it's always going to be that way in life.
He's a smart guy. He's a business savvy guy.
Yeah.
Nothing really rattles him,
No,
which
it
is a
doesn't.
big plus in this business. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh well, we'll deal with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't want to air Chris, anybody else's dirty laundry, but I'm gonna tell you something, man. I've seen Chris handle some stuff, and I would be like, "What? How do I get out of this, or how do I do this the way that I want to do it?" And he's the hardest guy on himself that I've ever seen or met.
oh yeah, we're all our own worst critic. I
God, we
understand
are,
that.
aren't we?
Yeah,
Jeez.
and these mixes every time I'd send them back, it's like, let's change this. I'd have like 4 or 5 little changes. Like, I'm not hearing this. I'm not hearing this. I'm a little bit picky.
See,
But yeah, we're
but
hard
that,
to please.
but that's why you're putting out a good product, man.
I think
You know,
so, man. I'm really proud of this.
I think you should be. Well, we're just looking to hear more of it. Okay.
Well, it's there. It ain't for lack of trying. I'm, I'm doing what I can, brother. But
Well, we're gonna keep everybody. We'll keep everybody abreast of what's happening with you, man.
I sure appreciate it, man.
Joe Caverlee, man about town. You know what I'm saying?
We'll fiddle for food. You saw my email address, didn't
That's
you?
right. We'll fiddle for food, no doubt about it. Well, tell everybody we said hey. If tell Hank to give me a call.
Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe he'll send you an icon hat.
Yeah, tell Bob I said he's gonna have to calm down some, man. I swear, I don't see how he's still going and doing everything that he was doing, man, back in the 80s.
Yeah, dude.
No.
If I had that guy's money, I'd probably be
Oh
hard to
man.
control as well.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you. Well, Joe Caverlee, be good, brother.
Rick Dollar, what a pleasure, man. I sure
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
your
The
time.
new single is Saving. And it's when is that going to be out?
It's out.
Right now.
It's out.
Right now. Get it
Go,
on
go.
all your streaming services.
All your
And
services has got it.
yeah, exactly.
It's got a really goofy picture of me in front of a microphone. Download it, enjoy it, play it for all your friends. Share the hell out of it.
And scare your dogs with it.
That's scary. Keep the mice away.
That's it, brother. Well, be good. Give us a holler, okay?
Yes, sir.
All
Great
right,
seeing you,
man.
brother.
See
Bye
you,
bye.
man.